So if you don't already know, I'm going to introduce you to one of the coolest characters of all time. This is Death, the one ultimate personification, the very idea of death in a cute, perky little goth girl package. Death is part of a family, so to speak, called the Endless, consisting of death, destiny, delirium, dream, desire, despair, and destruction, and they were all introduced in Neil Gaiman's critically acclaimed The Sandman comics. Her job is to guide everything to their new existence, but instead of your typical Reaper, not you, she's friendly, upbeat, and comforting. Since she's as mentioned before, the very personification of death, she exists everywhere. Doesn't matter which planet, which universe, etc. She's even canon to the Marvel universe, believe it or not. And I'm not talking about the Thanos Deadpool one. Anyway, there's way too much to talk about for this amazing character, so I highly recommend you read Death, The High Cost of Living, and Death, The Time of Your Life. They're both excellent reads. If you want something a bit more mainstream, she popped up for a bit in the Brightest Day comics. Moving on to the figure, she was made by DC Direct in 1999. This is the really old DC Direct we're talking about here, so the articulation is minimal, but more on that later. Right out of the packaging, she's very cute. Her eyes are painted a bit slanted, and her lips are red instead of black for whatever reason, but it's a good enough sculpt. She's got some blue dry brushing on her black hair to create some highlights. Overall, the paint on this figure is very clean. The rest of the body is sculpted in what looks more like some one-piece dancer's costume, whereas in the comics she usually has a black top with black leather pants. On the figure, the only thing that gives any indication that she's wearing pants is her belt. It's a loose piece, so it flops around a bit, but it's sculpted and painted well enough. Finally, her boots are well sculpted and all the silver buckles are nicely painted. Now here's the big downer, her articulation sucks. This is, believe it or not, a pretty well articulated figure from the company's standards at the time, but in comparison to anything modern, it's awful. She's got a swivel neck, swivel shoulders, single jointed elbows, bicep swivels, a waist swivel, those horrible V-hip swivels that aren't good for anything, and single jointed knees. She's not exactly a fighter in the comics, so I'm not asking for Spider-Man type of movement, but she's in desperate need of a more articulated body, ball-jointed shoulders at least. Finally, for accessories, she technically comes with two of them. Most obvious is the umbrella. It's well sculpted, but due to the articulation she can't really do anything with it. Second is her anch around her neck. It's a nice sculpt as well, but the chain is too bulky and the anch never lays in a natural position. There's a variant of this figure as well that replaces the umbrella with a top hat, which she wears from time to time. She's shown more with the umbrella though, so I'd say it's a better accessory. For size, she measures in at 5.5 inches tall. Final thoughts, she looks good, but you can't really do anything with her. 6 out of 10.